also the live on too, so everybody can share the link. Okay. Okay. Everybody share the link to your personal page. Yep.
Is that a yes or no? Yes, he'll take a picture. Thank you. Like when I'm, well, no, because I'll be distracted. But this is like.
Alright, cool. You need to go sit down. I'll take a picture. Don't sit down. You gotta put your phone on. Love you.
Whatever.
That's it. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Positions, Commissioner.
Wait, is it Commissioner?
Or is he? Oh, Brian said he can hear us.
Is it?
Well, it said nothing is showing.
Hi, good evening. It is Attorney Imani Williams from the Rouse Firm, your injury lawyers, where we handle automobile accidents, slip and falls, wrongful death, and negligent security cases. Today today we have another segment of Ask a Lawyer where I will be interviewed and also answering questions that you submitted. And with that being said, I now introduce City of Riviera Beach Councilman Doug Lawson.
Pleasure to meet you, Mr. Williams. How are you, man?
Thank you. Good, yourself?
Doing well, thank you. So, thank you so much for having me. I would love to host and speak with you today and just ask a few questions. Just questions that the community has and also questions that we've put together for you, okay?
Okay.
All right. So, first question. Are you originally from Palm Beach County?
Yes, I was born and raised in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Okay, excellent. So you were born and raised in West Palm Beach, Florida?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. Where'd you go to school? Law school?
I went to Southern University Law Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Okay. Excellent. Did you always know that you wanted to be a lawyer?
I actually did. I recall my 5th grade teacher writing in my yearbook from elementary, congratulating me on becoming a lawyer in the near future. And I knew I wanted to be a lawyer because I understood the importance of, if you wanted to effectuate change, you needed to be in a position to do that. So that's why I wanted to be a lawyer.
Perfect. Okay. What areas do you practice in?
So at the Rouse firm, once again, we do personal injury, and that includes negligent security, wrongful deaths, slip and falls, and automobile accidents.
Excellent. Okay. So, with this time frame that you've been practicing law and the areas that you've been practicing in, do you have any specialties?
I would say that my specialty would be automobile accidents. With all the cases that we do get in, I primarily handle about 60% of the automobile accidents. So automobile accidents were my specialty as of now.
Okay. So, as attorneys, and the biggest concern that attorneys have are fees. These are what clients, these are what individuals from the community have about fees. What is your billing process when it comes to fees?
Okay, so the Florida Bar provides for a contingency fee agreement, and in layman terms, it's basically saying we don't get paid if you don't, and it provides that the lawyer fees are 33 1/3% settling, not going to trial. If we do go to trial, then the lawyer fees will be 40% plus costs.
Okay. So now, with those fees and someone's pursuing a claim, what is their expected process time frame on how long it's going to last?
It depends. I've seen cases settle within 30 days and some take 14 to 15 months. It all really depends on how extensive the investigation is and even how willing the defendant's insurance company is willing to settle.
Okay, understood. So now, depending on that, for example, do they have to go to trial? Is that always the case? Do they always go to trial?
No, there's always other avenues when pursuing a claim, such as arbitration, mediation, or negotiating to settle. So there's other avenues besides going to trial.
Okay. So I know that their biggest concern with going to trial is being prepared or not going to trial. So the other options that you presented, what is their role when it's getting ready for a case or preparing themselves?
Okay, so as a lawyer should always have good communication with their client. A client should also have good communication with their lawyer. So that just means keeping us updated with information that we might not easily have on hand. So a change of marital status, a change of name, a change of address, so things like that. And keeping us updated with anything they might feel like we don't want to know or don't think we should know. So we're always prepared for whatever the other side may bring. So just being open, honest, and being effective communicators.
Very good, very good. And I know a lot of people, they're just concerned with going to trial and the lengthy process that it takes for going into a case. So now, what are the odds of just a settlement and closing out this case?
The odds of a settlement, I would say 80%. The judicial system actually prefers for cases to settle because they don't want frivolous claims. They want to prevent the delays or the expenses that can come from going to trial. So settlements are actually preferred.
Okay. Now, I know that we talked about preparation, if they're going after a claim, if they're injured. What is their process if they do not seek treatment right away? Does it actually hurt their claim?
No, it doesn't if they do not take too long. The Florida statute provides for the personal injury protection insurance that you have up to 14 days to treat. So if you do treat within the 14 days of your accident, then the PIP will still cover your medical expenses.
But you'd still recommend
I definitely would recommend
Yeah.
because defendant's insurance will be like, well, were you really injured if you waited that
Right.
long? So
Right, understood. Okay, so what happens if, for example, I'm partially at fault for like an accident?
okay, so if you're partially at fault, you still have a claim. Florida is a pure comparative negligence state, so that means if you are at fault, it doesn't prevent you from getting your damages. Your amount will just be reduced by whatever percentage you're at fault. So you still have a claim if you're partially at fault. You just won't get the full amount you would have received if you were not at fault at all.
Okay. I want a consultation, Ms. Williams. Is that free? Are you going to charge me for that?
No, at the Rouse firm, consultations are free. So give us a call. Anyone watching, give us a call at 561-804-9361.
Okay. So what are 3 tips that you'd give someone seeking an attorney just in general?
Okay, my first tip would be to make sure that the attorney is actually specialized in the area dealing with your claim. That's most important because you don't want to go to a lawyer that doesn't know how to really work your case.
Right.
My second thing would be to do your research, check their verdicts, their settlements, check the Florida bar to see if there were any complaints about them, because all of that is public record. Just make sure you have a good attorney that is diligent and competent. And my last tip would be to make sure you choose an attorney that actually makes you feel like you are a priority, like your case matters.
Absolutely.
Make sure they're going to be a good communicator with you and you're not just feeling like you don't matter at all. And aside from that, I will also say it always helps when someone else looks like you in the room when they're defending you.
Very good. Okay. Now, in 100 years, we've never experienced this, but we're currently in a pandemic. How has this truly affected the legal system?
It has definitely slowed down some things, but the show has still gone on. There's been different proceedings that have been held with Zoom. A lot of different areas have utilized Zoom for conferences. So, for example, you can do a mediation or deposition. There's even been a jury trial via Zoom. We actually just resolved a case via mediation on Zoom. So it's still going on. It's just a little slower, but who knows? It may end up being like this even once the pandemic passes, or things will be virtual.
Now, with us not being as technologically savvy and individuals not being able to use Zoom or having difficulty with that, how are you still doing your consultations with those clients?
So we can do it over the phone. We have no problem, of course, masked up, going to a client's home because their concerns matter. So if they aren't comfortable leaving their home, we don't mind going. FaceTime if they might have a loved one who has an iPhone or an iPad. So there's other avenues besides Zoom, for sure.
Okay. So now some residents throughout Palm Beach County just submitted some questions and they wanted to ask you. I have a gentleman from Lake Worth, Mr. Josh Edwards, wanted to know, he slipped and fell at a restaurant a few months ago. Does he have a case?
That's a good question, Josh. It all depends. With premises liability cases, the owner obviously has a duty to maintain their premises in a safe condition and prevent unreasonable risk of danger. However, different factors come into play, whether they were on notice. So although there is a duty to maintain the safety, there must also be notice. So if the water was spilled, been there for a minute, they might not have been on notice, so there is no duty yet. But if there were water tracks or the water was dirty, then that will obviously show that they had notice and they should have prevented that unreasonable risk. So it depends. Call the Rouse firm, call me, and we can do further investigation, Josh. Thank you for that question.
Absolutely. Maya submitted a question via email from Boynton Beach. She emailed and she stated that she received a facial, had a terrible reaction. Does she have a case? And she had received a facial from a local spa in the community.
Okay, so being a local spa and not a medical facility, it isn't medical malpractice. So we go back to the typical negligence case, and it depends on what type of reaction. If your reaction was something that was typical or common, then might not have a case, but definitely can look into it. We have to also see if you signed something, if they told you the potential side effects. So it's always case to case with every instance, but like I said before, call and we can do more investigation.
Okay. Final question. Actually, it's 2 more questions, actually. I have a gentleman from Riviera Beach, Willie Wilkins. He asked and stated that there's been concerns with people, having a slip and fall, having a case, and that they're being spied on. Is that true that they're being spied on during an active case?
Well, I hate to put it that way, but technically speaking, yes, it is possible when you do have an active claim, you could get spied on by the opposing parties. They might hire a private investigator, because if you're claiming you're injured, they're going to want to look into your lifestyle to see what you're doing, to see if you're still doing the same activities you were doing before the injuries. Also, they look into your social media. So that's a big thing, especially now with our generation. We're very social media savvy. So just be careful what you post, be careful what you do, because they are watching. Because at the end of the day, defendants' insurance, the whole purpose is to try to not pay as much as you may feel like you're owed. So
understood.
You're spied on. Be careful.
So you're spied on. Will be careful. Charles Irving, he emailed in and said that he was hit by somebody, but they did not have insurance. Does he have a claim? What happens?
Okay, so if you were hit by someone with no insurance, there's still a possibility that you have a claim. Being in Florida, where there are many tourists and it's just crazy traffic going on, it's always emphasized to have uninsured motorist insurance coverage. And with that, it provides you protection if you're hit by a party that either has no insurance at all, or either they're underinsured so they can't afford to pay for your damages. So depends on what insurance policy you have. So call us.
Excellent. And final question submitted was Toya from Delray Beach. She said that a friend was at a club in South Beach. She got jumped by 3 girls.
Whoa.
By a lady in the room. She got cut, had to get stitches, 40 stitches. Does she have a case?
So Toya, I'm sorry that happened to your friends. As a club, they have a duty, since it's still a premises, they have ownership of it and have control. It is their duty to provide adequate security. So if there's always been instances where there's been fighting or different crimes in the club, then there was notice. So most likely you do have a claim, but as I always say, it's case to case and we need to do further investigation. So have your friend call the Rouse firm and we'll let her know more about her case.
Okay, excellent, Ms. Williams. What else can you tell us in closing about the Rouse firm and yourself?
Okay, so as I said before, the Rouse firm handles personal injury. Mr. Rouse, Mr. Attorney Richard A. Rouse, he's been practicing for 30 years. The Rouse firm, we handle injury cases, but we pride ourselves on actually helping the community, giving back, advocating for those who can't advocate for themselves. We're big on just our community developing better, especially in the Black community, because we're always overlooked. And unfortunately, our community isn't always informed about what goes on. So we definitely like to deal with other things besides law, but definitely that. About myself, what would you like to know?
So you said that you're from Palm Beach County. Mm-hmm. What made you leave, go to school, and come back to actually practice law here in Palm Beach County?
Okay, I'll get a little personal. So my family's originally from Louisiana. I attended undergrad at Southern University as well. So when I made the decision to go to law school, I already had connections there, networked. So it felt like it was just the right thing to do. I thought about going to FAMU's law school because I always knew I wanted to go to HBCU. I'll put that out there. But it just made more sense to just stay where I was at. I did take the Louisiana bar last year in July, passed on the first attempt.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
So how I ended up back in Florida, my father actually took ill. I wasn't aware because I was studying for the bar, so no one wanted to distract me. So when I come home thinking I'm just visiting for after the summer, found out he's very ill, and so from there I ended up staying here to help take care of my father, who is now passed my mom. So, and within that process, I got connected with Mr. Rouse, and he's just been a great mentor. He's taught me a lot. He's helped me with things that I deal with on the personal level. So I'm not only growing here as a career woman, but also just as a young lady, as a woman in general. So that's how I ended up here. I am now here, so I'm taking in preparation for the Florida bar exam, which keeps getting pushed back due to the pandemic. However, that is my story. some people find it sad, but I think that it makes me stronger and it makes me want to fight even more for those who can't fight for themselves.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Rouse Firm, I'm sure, is honored to have you. We in Palm Beach County, as an elected official, we're honored to have you. Thank you so much for serving here in Palm Beach County and coming to serve the people of Palm Beach County. So, Ms. Williams, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure speaking with you today.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming to speak with me too.
Absolutely.
It's your
Thank you.
busy schedule. Don't you have a meeting you have to be at?
Yes, I'm on my way there now.
Okay.
I'm going to go check it in a
See?
minute.
We like to just give back. He's taking time out of his busy schedule, so it's always about giving back to the community.
Thank you.
Once again, Doug Lawson.
Thank you. Attorney Williams, thank you. And thank you so much for the time.
So, is it still on? Okay, so that is the segment for today, Ask a Lawyer. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. I appreciate all the questions that have been sent. I appreciate the Rouse Firm for supporting me. I appreciate Councilman Doug Lawson for taking time. And I appreciate Kevin Lawson for helping with production. Thank you guys. I hope you guys have a great evening. And I hope you guys maintain your safety with the pandemic. Thank you.